Why is Mike Macdonald the new head coach of the Seahawks, Brock? I think we discussed it earlier. He brings a lot of the things that have been missing over the course of the last few years, and that's not atypical for a hire. It's not atypical for an organization to look at some of the things they've been missing and try to fill some of those holes with the next hire. He is young, and that is obviously the easiest difference to spot. I don't know that that's the reason he got the job. I don't know that they wanted to go from 72 to 36 in particular, but it's hard not to see it. What I think I focused on a little bit more is how many people have just used the word smart. He's smart. He's smart. He's smart. Nobody said it more than Kyle Hamilton, who has played for him and had a heck of a year at safety for the Ravens this past year.
Yeah, he's super cerebral, really smart guy, probably the smartest guy in the building. Don't tell him I said that, but he's going to get everybody in the right spots, use everybody's best abilities, and really just conforms to what we do best as a defense and as a team. And great motivator. He lets the guys lead the room. It's just a bunch of great qualities for him, and whatever is coming in his future, he deserves it.
I want to be clear, I'm not calling Pete Carroll not smart, but on the strengths and weaknesses for Pete, I don't know that his biggest strength was his attention to detail. I don't know that his biggest strength was his ability to out-scheme some of the modern coordinators. And so I don't know that it's surprising that they've swung the pendulum in the other direction now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the league has done too. I mean, just look around at this hiring cycle. The greatest coach in the history of this sport is on the sidelines. There were 8 jobs open. He interviewed where? 1, 2, Belichick? I mean, the league just is decided almost collectively. Jerod Mayo is unbelievably young. Dave Canales is unbelievably young. When it comes to like head coaching experience, Antonio Pierce was had a pretty good trial run for 6, 7, 8 games there with the Raiders. He's young. Mike Macdonald is the youngest of them all at age 36. This is the direction. The Dan Quinns, the Mike Vrabels, the Bill Belichicks, the pelts on the wall, Salk. I've been there. I've done it. I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70. The Pete Carrolls, when Pete Carroll gets let go here, he's 72. I think if one of these came clamoring and came calling and really wanted him, and maybe they could have pried him into coaching.
So why do you think that is? I could kind of come up with 2 things that stand out to me.
Well, it's very similar to our politics in America. We've gone young. I mean, look at the 2 that are going to be going at it.
We've gone young in politics. For sure.
I mean, over the next 8 to 9 months.
Yes.
Trump and Biden, very similar.
Very young.
To so much of what we're seeing here.
No, I don't think that's true.
No.
I got two reasons that jump out to me. One, why are teams going young? Gen Z.
Yep.
It's a different generation.
Yes, it is.
And, that may be hard for you and I to process. We're still trying to figure out how to talk to millennials, but they've already skipped past that.
Perfect.
They're past the millennials. They're on to the next generation of Gen Z that communicates in a very different way. And that may be a whole lot easier with a 36-year-old Mike Macdonald than it is with a 50-something-year-old whomever. So that may be a big part of it. The second one, and we talked about how that may have ultimately been some of Pete's undoing and some of Belichick's undoing. Guys who figured out how to speak to other generations but maybe struggled a little bit with their communication with the guys that are out there now. So that's one. The other, though, and this does seem to be a bit of a trend around the league, is it does seem to me that coordination is at such a premium that coaches, and because so many organizations have hired away the smartest coordinators to make them head coaches, that the people making those decisions on coaching hires are being forced to do the same thing. Does that make sense?
A little bit. I mean, just the supply and the pool of candidates that you're looking at.
I guess what I'm saying is, and I said this earlier, it's really too bad Pete Carroll didn't hire a Mike Macdonald. It's really too bad that we're not getting Pete's ability to lead a culture combined with Mike Macdonald's ability to coach a defense. And I think part of the reason... Look, why couldn't Pete have found a guy like that? That's a Pete problem. I don't know why he couldn't do it over the last however many years, but that's a Pete problem, and it's a massive failure on his part. I don't know how else to say it. But if you're now John Schneider and you're in these interviews and you're looking around, you're going, hey, all of the guys are just getting hired so young and so quickly who are smart that you've got to just hire one as your head coach because it's the only way to get that kind of consistent coordination level.
Yeah, I mean that's where the trend is going. I mean, look at even the recent years right before that. Mike Macdonald's wearing joggers, you know, and vaping on the sidelines down there in Miami. Like, you know, he's got the cool guy glasses like that. I mean, he's young, he's hip. D'Amico Ryans, you know, just this last year 39, 38, 39. You know, he was playing not that long ago, and now he's leading Houston to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, this is where the trend is going. The league, that's one thing that doesn't really change an awful lot, Salk, in my almost 30 years around it. Like, hey man, this is where it's going. This is, you know, the copycat nature. This is kind of where the trend is going, and you got to kind of jump aboard that train because that's where the supply is, and the supply right now is in these young, innovative minds. Now you're a little different, because you're doing it defensively like Houston did, or a guy with a defensive background. But I'm going to guess today, as he gets peppered with questions and John gets peppered with questions at the press conference in just a couple hours, it's not going to be, no. We didn't hire a defensive guy. We hired the biggest brain we could and the smartest guy we could and most cerebral guy we could, who on paper and on tape, and when we played him, bashed our head in, right, in early November, late October there in Baltimore. And this is the guy that we want, as you said, making now these critical processes and decisions.
Couple of notes as we've run through some of these names. Moore's been shooting these over to us here during the course of the show. Sounds like Ejiro Avero is going to stay in Carolina, so he's going to remain the defense coordinator there.
Yep.
It sounds like the Carl Scott is going to stay here in Seattle, which is different from what we heard the other day. It sounded like he was going to go to Philadelphia, but it's according to Matt Zenitz, he is not going to be leaving. He's going to be staying here.
And he's got a little more, Carl did a little more background in that Alabama match coverage, some of the things that Mike certainly likes to do, and pattern reading and matching, some of the things that didn't always get done really well at the highest level. But, yep, he's going to stick around.
And then this one is from Jordan Renan, who says the plan is for Mike Kafka to return as Giants offensive coordinator next season. Per sources, he was a finalist for the Seahawks head coaching job, and he's an ESPN NFL Nation reporter in New York.
Some of that might just be the detail that, like you got a contract, you're not making a lateral move. Those organizations have to let those guys loose, Salk, and let them out of their contracts. And ultimately, Carolina and New York may not have done that. Or Kafka may have decided that, this is still going to be a better route for me to be here than it is there, or who knows. So some of those details will follow. But not terribly surprised by that. A lot of that.
Busy morning.